If you're working a W-2 job, you're probably investing wrong. And I don't mean you're being reckless. I mean nobody ever showed you a strategy that actually works for your life. Here's what most W-2 earners do with their money. Option 1, they put it in the stock market. Option 2, and these are for the ones feeling a little more ambitious, they go and buy a rental property. And honestly, I get it. I've done both. But here's what nobody tells you. Let's start with the stock market. It builds wealth over time, sure, but income? Let's run the actual numbers. $1 million invested in the S&P 500 yields you roughly $15,000 a year in dividends. $15,000 on $1 million. So I want you to do the math right now. How many millions would you need to replace your salary? Would it be 2 million, 3 million, 5 million? Most people don't have that, and most people aren't going to accumulate that before they're ready to stop working. Okay, so what about rental properties? Because everyone just says, hire a property manager, it's passive. But let's be honest, the average cash flow per rental door, after your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, your property management, any maintenance, is somewhere between $150 and $300 a month. So if you want to replace $10,000 a month of income, you need somewhere between 33 and 66 doors. 33 to 66 properties. And even with a property manager, you're still getting calls, you're still making decisions. Unexpected repairs come up, a tenant stops paying, you have to deal with eviction. You've built yourself a second job, except this one doesn't come with all the benefits. Because here's the part that really gets me. If you have a W-2 job, you can't even take full advantage of the tax benefits that make real estate so powerful in the first place. The depreciation write-offs, the paper losses, most of that gets phased out the second your income crosses a certain threshold, which you're probably already above. So you're taking on all of the headaches and leaving most of the upside on the table. So I started asking a different question. What if I could get the returns of real estate without actually owning the property? That's when everything changed for me. I discovered private money lending. Instead of buying the deal, I became the bank. Here's how it works. Real estate investors, flippers, developers, people rehabbing distressed properties, they need capital and they need it fast. Traditional banks are too slow and too rigid, so they borrow from private lenders like you and me. You lend the money and they do the work, and your loan is secured by the real estate itself. You're not the landlord, you're the lender. This is why it clicks so hard for me as someone with a full-time job. No tenants, no renovations, no 2 a.m. calls about a broken water heater. You review the deal, you wire the funds, and then your money goes to work while you go to work. It's the first strategy I found that actually fits around a W-2 life instead of fighting against it. And the returns are not what you'd expect. We're talking 8%, 10%, sometimes 12% or higher depending on the deal. Compare that to the $15,000 a year on $1 million in the S&P. The difference isn't small. It's the difference between waiting decades and actually building income right now. So let me walk you through a real deal I did, so this isn't just theory. I had a private money loan out on a property in Georgia. It was a fire-damaged house. Honestly, not really the kind of deal I would have wanted to own myself. But here's what made it a no-brainer from a lending perspective. My $50,000 loan was still below the as-is value of the property, even after the fire damage. So even in a worst-case scenario, the real estate itself had me covered. That's the security that most people never think about when they hear private lending. You're not betting on the flip succeeding. You're lending against an asset that already has value. A flipper I knew saw the opportunity, did the math, and put my capital to work. He rehabbed the whole thing and sold it for just under $600,000. Now here's the thing. I didn't swing a hammer. I didn't manage one contractor. I didn't lose a minute of sleep over it. I just collected my interest every single month. That one deal on a property I really would never want to touch returned more in a few months than most people make in a year in dividends. And that's when it really hit me. You're never going to quit your job or have real freedom unless you can replace your income. Not build wealth, replace income. And the stock market, as great as it is for long-term growth, is not designed to do that. Not at $15,000 a year per $1 million. Not on a W-2 timeline. Private lending backed by real estate creates actual monthly cash flow, the kind that stacks deal after deal, month after month. And unlike chasing 33 to 66 rental doors, It doesn't come with a second job attached to it. If you're a W-2 earner who's tired of watching your money sit in accounts that aren't really working for you, this is exactly what I break down on my channel. Real strategies, real numbers, built for people who already have a career and want their money pulling its own weight. If that's you, you definitely want to hit subscribe because I put out a lot of new content every single week, and this is just the beginning. Now, real quick question before you go, and I actually want to know, would you rather own the property or be the bank? Drop it in the comments. I'm going to read every single one.